Hello, good morning. So my name's James Baker. I'm Solution Engineering Manager at Flexera Software. So although I'm a manager today, I've lived and breathed application readiness for around the last 20 years. So I've done lots of packaging in my past, migrations, virtualization, transitions, and so on. And I'm here today to talk to you about maturing your packaging process through automation, but then also following from this, how this fits with the overall enterprise application lifecycle for applications as well. So just so I can get a view of those who know Admin Studio, could you put your hands up if you actually know the Admin Studio solution? Great, okay. And who actually uses Admin Studio today? Yeah, quite a lot, sure. In fact, the most of the room, great, okay, super. Just 1 second, slight technical. That's the mouse. Okay, hello. So we see lots of complexity out in environments today. It's long ago when there was typically one package deployment type, maybe one provisioning or client management system to get the application down to an end device. One operating system, one architecture. Today things are more complex. So there's multiple platforms to support, multiple architectures, the 32 and 64-bit and the transition between those. There's not just Microsoft desktops and servers to manage in the enterprise today. There's also the Mac OS platform. There's the mobile applications. There's the mobile devices that need to be supported as well. It's application virtualization, although many organizations still provide MSI packaging or wrapping as a format for app delivery. There's also lots of application virtualization in place and virtualization initiatives still today in support of things such as VDI moving forward. So unified application readiness is really about how do we bring these things together so we can have one common process for management of applications across all of these different format types and all of this different complexity that we see in the enterprise today. So what we've seen over time is in terms of the enterprise adoption of client platforms. Well, historically, it was just typically Microsoft. There was very long release cycles between the different operating systems. So between Windows XP being released and Windows 7, there's a long-ish period of time between releases. And the actual application readiness effort required in preparing for those releases, we kind of saw this as peaks and troughs of effort. Now, this was driven a lot by application compatibility challenges. But what we're seeing today has changed. There's now more platforms to support, and the platforms are being released quicker. There's the Mac mobile platforms. The server platforms are being released much quicker. Windows 10 has been released, apparently the last official release of a major version of the operating system. The branch release process is now in place, so updates to that operating system are happening on a scheduled frequency. And what we're seeing in terms of effort around this isn't those big sort of peaks and troughs around getting like from one operating system to the next, but more effort in managing multiple platforms and keeping up with that change, the accelerated change of these operating systems that can impact the application functionality for your end users and your end customers. I'll just do one last show of hands. How many people are actually packaging applications today? Who's actually preparing packages? Yeah. Good, super, thank you. So with our App and Studio solution, we're trying to help organizations to improve their maturity. Unfortunately, my clicker doesn't work, so I'm going to point with my finger. But it really comes from being at a level, what we call maturity 1, which is basic packaging. This is around packaging an app using manual tools and getting that application ready for deployment. Typically for a single computing platform, and typically through a client management system, such as SCCM Alteryx. Level 2 is around having packaging standards in place, around having a repeatable process in place that enables you to ensure quality and consistency as you package those applications. Level 3 is around automation and making the process more efficient. There's lots of tasks which people do today in terms of packaging, virtualization, preparing applications ready for deployment, which can be automated. So it's really around bringing automation in to improve those capabilities. And finally, level 4 is change ready. Now, this is what we mean by change ready is being prepared today for as your applications come in to be able to manage those multiple different formats ready for delivery to your end environment, ensuring that ultimately those applications work exactly as they should do when they're deployed or provisioned to the end device. But also being ready for those next changes as well. To give you an example, what happens when that next Windows 10 branch release comes through? Will it impact any of your applications? Being in a position up front to understand that change, to manage that change before it actually happens and impacts your end environment. So in terms of improving maturity, it's really around getting to this stage of automation where possible, but then being proactively ready for change. Both the changing environment as is, but also what's coming next. Now, underneath App and Studio, or really sort of behind App and Studio, we have an application catalog. And the catalog today supports lots of different formats. People traditionally know App and Studio just from an MSI packaging tool, and it has great packaging tools and lots of capabilities there in preparing MSI packages for deployment. But we also support, from this same catalog, the import of Android applications for mobile, iOS applications, virtual applications, including AppVs, VMware ThinApps, Citrix XenApp, which is now deprecated, and semantic workspace virtualization. We can bring in, of course, legacy setup XEs into this catalog as well. We can bring in web deploy applications from IIS servers to make sure your IIS application is going to be ready for the move to the latest versions of the server platform or even to Azure. We bring in Windows Store applications and websites and web applications as well for testing. So in support of unified application readiness, the App and Studio catalog provides you this one single location to bring all of these applications in. So if you actually brought all of your applications into App and Studio, you then have the ability to test those applications up front for all of these different platforms. Now, some of these have been in the tool for quite a while in terms of the ability to test your applications to see if they're suitable for virtualization. If you do have a virtualization initiative, well, you're not going to be able to virtualize every application. Many applications can't be virtualized for a number of reasons. The common one is a device driver. You can virtualize iTunes. Yeah, the iTunes application will work okay. You can connect to the App Store fine. If you want to plug in your iPhone, it's not going to connect to iTunes if it's virtualized. So how do you understand that up front? And this catalog provides automation and testing to enable you to see these things from dashboard reporting. Of course, platform testing is important. As we move to Windows 10, the compatibility issues, they're not the same as they were with Windows 7. It's not the big headache of getting from Windows XP to Windows 7, but there are still issues there. There's still challenges there. Now, if you have applications which drive the business, applications which are key for your business, how do you understand whether those applications are going to function successfully on that new platform? Well, you can test that application. You can sit there and manually test it. And if it's a small app, maybe that will take 30 minutes to test. But if it's actually an SAP client with a back end which has lots of integration, Well, perhaps it could take weeks to test that application. And then you have to test every application anyway to get there. So again, having this information up front helps you make decisions around, proactively managing change and being change ready. And finally, in terms of the mobile space, so mobile applications. So it's pretty common for there to be multiple device types in an organization. So it may be that you have a mixture of iPhones and Androids or iPads. And maybe the operating systems on those devices are different versions as well. So as mobile applications come into the enterprise, both from in-house developed mobile applications, but also from public app stores as well, if you want to push these applications out to devices and provision these with mobile application management or MDM solutions, you need to understand that those mobile applications are going to function and work successfully on those end devices. So again, the same catalog, the same testing, giving you visibility if your mobile applications are going to function successfully. And we recently introduced with Admin Studio 2016 OSX testing as well for the Mac platform. So if you do deploy to Macs today, then this enables you to ensure that as new releases of the Mac operating system comes out, that your Mac applications will function successfully. So I'm seeing sort of, a little bit more adoption of Macs in the enterprise, typically hearing about customers using Jamf Casper in terms of management of those applications. But just for interest for me, do any of you have Macs in your environment today? Yep, 2, 3. Do you use a deployment tool to manage those Mac applications? Yep. Do you use Casper? Yep, yep. And they seem to be the leader in that space. So SCCM has some capabilities around Mac management, but Casper are very mature in that market. They've been there for a long while now, and they're a thorough solution in that space. So the next step is, of course, fixing and packaging. Well, Admin Studio has all those tools to enable you to manually package the applications. You have the repackage, for those who know Admin Studio, the repackager, the tuner, install shield, and so on, all the capabilities to package applications. But we have a lot of automation there as well. So you get a lot of automatic repackaging capabilities, automatic virtualization capabilities as well. Being able to move apps from a physical through to a virtual format, saving time and effort. You can't automate everything, that's the reality of it, but things you can automate, well, they should be. It saves time and effort in the process. It helps you be more efficient with the tasks you're doing. It helps you being change ready. Again, in terms of the Mac OS applications as well, we can edit PKG files now directly from this application catalog. A PKG, or the editing of a PKG file, the way to think of it, it's a little bit like using a transform file with MSI packaging. It gives you, the developer exposes different attributes, and it enables you to configure the application based on those attributes. It's actually an XML file that we put back into the PKG file itself, but similar to a transform file in those capabilities. And finally, deployment. So, we've tested those applications, and we're continuously testing those applications as new capabilities are required. We're packaged using automation where possible, and the next step is preparing those applications in the deployment solution or the provisioning solution ready for those applications to get to that end device. So again, from Admin Studio, from the same catalog, it's preparing and handing applications off to the leading deployment solutions. Some of the examples here, in terms of course, the Mac support, we directly integrate with Casper, along with AirWatch for mobile application management. We integrate with our own app store. I will talk a little bit about that later. But again, this is streamlining, automating the process of testing, doing the work, and then preparing those applications in that end deployment solution. Okay. I'm going to have to sit down for the demo, unfortunately. There's not a podium, so excuse me if I've got my back to you. So what we're seeing here is the report center from this catalog. We get visibility straight away for all the applications that are under management in our estate. Again, these are the different types of applications that we've brought into this catalog. It's both for desktop and server-based applications and for mobile applications as well. These PKG and DMG files, these are the Mac-based applications. We give you a view on whether these applications are suitable for Windows 10, 64-bit, virtualization. We provide best practices around MSI. You can also add your own best practices as well. And we provide virtualization best practices. Now, the dashboards themselves, they give you a lot of insight into things such as your iOS mobile applications. So you can get a simple view into any of your sort of mobile applications in the environment. We can see the functionalities that you use. We can see the device compatibility. We can see the OS compatibility as well with those applications. In terms of desktop operating system compatibility, we can look and see if we have any challenges with our applications with the current version of OS X in this environment. So to get these applications into this catalog, of course, we need to populate this. So normally when people adopt Admin Studio Enterprise, it's about firstly getting these apps prepared in the application catalog. And then it becomes a continuous process as your packaging apps or new mobile applications are received into the environment. You need to actually add these moving forwards as well. So the way we do this is through an import process. We can import a folder of applications. If you have a software library or a DML, we can actually reach out to that folder and bring the applications from there. We can connect through to a deployment system such as SCCM and automate the pulling of all those applications from your current deployment solution. And of course, we link to public app stores as well for those publicly available mobile applications and websites. So again, in terms of the single application types, these are the different formats we support the import of, enabling testing across all of these applications. As we bring the applications into the environment, we pre-configure them for the deployment solutions which we need to publish to. In this case, this is for SCCM 2012. And we automate the preparation of all what we call from the metadata, the configuration of these applications ready to be deployed. Now, the last phase from here, of course, would be to distribute the application. So we could reach out to the actual deployment solution, and it's going to hand off that application to the deployment solution itself. Now, in terms of testing, we give insight and an overview of all applications and their test results at a granular application level. So this gives you a visibility of where challenges could be with these applications across a number of different formats and technologies. In this case, it's operating system compatibility that I'm going to drill into. And we can see this has got both some Windows 10 and Windows 7 64-bit compatibility issues for this specific application. Now, coming back to this view in terms of the Mac OS applications, I will show you this because this is newer capability in Admin Studio, but we now get insight into the actual Mac-based applications. This is a PKG file. It gives us the ability to actually configure these different settings which have been exposed by the vendor. Okay. So, again, from having all these applications in your catalog, it's given you visibility into, well, number one, really what you're managing out in your estate, but the testing and the automation around the testing is providing you the ability to see whether these apps are going to work in your current environment today, but also being prepared for what's coming next. And of course, we can take these applications and convert them to different formats as well. So if I just have a look at that MSI application as well, I can make a decision to do this, to convert this through to AppV, for example. So I choose a technology of choice, and I'll be able to automate the conversion of that application. Now, I am going to just run a very short video, which I'll talk through as well. Now, App Studio itself, everything I've shown you there can be driven all by APIs. Now, in this example, it's just some scripts we put together, which is using the APIs with 4 different areas of a file name, so which MSI or package do we want to look at, the operation we want to perform, the platform we want to perform that on, and if there's a command line like silent switches or that side of things. And in this case, we're going to convert the first application from an XE to an MSI. This application we're going to run some compatibility tests on for Windows 8 and Windows 10 64-bit. And it's a simple PowerShell script which is used, which enables this. So the PowerShell, I don't know if any of you experience with PowerShell, but what this enables you to do is to extend App Studio's capabilities into your own workflow processes, into your own tools as well. But this is really taking automation to that next step. So you're getting away from actually using the user interface to deliver this. So this script will run through. It's going to do a number of different conversions. It's going to upgrade an app from AppV 4.6 to AppV 5. It's going to package some applications both to MSI and AppV formats. It's going to test applications for compatibility. And again, it's doing this all just through the PowerShell command line, automated. So the key thing here, again, is it's saving lots of time and effort. And if you do have a process today, this can integrate with that process just from PowerShell, both in populating the catalog, both in testing the applications, preparing those applications and automating them, getting them ready for that next platform. And it'll just take a little while to run through the actual tests themselves. Do we have any people who use PowerShell today at all? That's a few. Good for you. Excellent. Good. So at the end of this process, it's also publishing some of these applications to SCCM. We can see we're publishing Firefox as well. So this is that whole application readiness process wrapped up to into a script and just run in minutes. And we've done all of those different tasks, literally like in 3 or 4 minutes. So we're now going to look in SCCM. We can see that both this Blender application and Firefox were published. Blender was an MSI to AppV conversion as well. So lots of automated tasks, all driven through PowerShell, saving time and effort. And we're just going to launch the Application Manager, and it'll just show that we've brought the applications into Application Manager as well, and run the testing on those applications. And there's the applications which have been imported. But again, a few minutes, and there's 3 or 4 applications. We've done some conversions, we've done testing, we've got those applications ready into the deployment solution, and that's really where you get true automation, or starting to get true automation. Okay. So, the automation and the APIs enable you to integrate this into your own processes, into your own workflows that you may have today around application readiness. But of course, we have our own workflow manager solution. I'm not going to go into detail about this today, but it's a solution that I've presented at other AppManagEvents. Workflow Manager provides a web-based interface for end users to request applications into the application readiness workflow. So this is a typical front-end piece of, an application is required. It might just be a request at that stage to the service desk, but also all of those processes in terms of like getting the documentation, the media, the prerequisites, everything you need to actually package those applications up front. It enables the Applications Manager to assign activities and work to the packages. And it enables the packages to do the work using App 'Studio with full integration and automation. So as those applications move through the workflow process with Workflow Manager, we're driving Admin Studio, we're driving those APIs. As that request comes through, if that's an XE, we can automatically convert it to an MSI. We can bring that into the catalog and test that application to make sure it works on those latest target platforms, including the full application testing. So that's really driven, again, through automation. Now, Workflow Manager itself often get asked the question, is this something which is, just prescribed, like a prescribed workflow? The answer in it isn't. It's something which you can configure this workflow for your own environment. So every AR process I've seen, it's always a little bit different. You can have your own workflow in place to enable the management of this end to end. And this is an example of one of the reports from Workflow Manager. So this is showing the visibility into the packaging queue. This is a process here from app request review right to the end of publish application for deployment. And we can see the apps as well based on their service level agreement, whether we're getting these things done in time in this example report. So I've talked a lot about maturing your application readiness process, the introduction of automation and being change ready. But then it's really about how do end users consume those applications in the enterprise. So again, with the complexity, which we talked about at the start of the session today, we typically see users having different devices and different ways to get those applications, because there's different provisioning systems in place. Maybe as the gentleman here has got Casper in place, you have one route to get the application for your Mac devices through Casper. Maybe you have a mobile application management or an MDM solution in place. Maybe that's another route to get the application to your mobile device. Maybe you have SCCM or Landesk in place. Maybe that's another route to get that to your physical device. Maybe use Office 365 or SaaS or cloud-based applications. Again, another provisioning service, another route to get that application to be provisioned to your end device. So lots of different routes and typically driven by the help desk. And what App Portal is a universal app store. It becomes a single pane of glass, a single shopping experience for all application requesters and users to go to consume and self-serve their own applications. Now, we talked about these different sort of back-end systems, and just in terms of App Portal itself, this is what App Portal supports today out of the box. So full automation, full integration with these different systems and solutions, both from client management, mobile management, VDI, and also SaaS-based applications as well. Now, if you have any app store in your environment and you remove the need for these requests for the help desk, you still want to respect your ITSM processes. You still want to be able to track and manage, the raising of a ticket, closing of a ticket, and so on. And we integrate with the leading service management solutions as well to ensure that whole process is tracked. So tickets are automatically updated, created, closed. If there's an issue on deployment, we can raise a ticket to the help desk or to an IT person to actually fix or look into that issue as well. So that's really around the way we help customers consume applications, receive applications in the end environment. So as applications are deployed, the next piece that you need to be concerned with as we look around the application lifecycle is, are those applications vulnerable? Are those applications insecure? So software vulnerability management is about really firstly understanding what's out in the environment, sort of identification, assessment. Secondly, when you understand what's out there, being able to mitigate or remediate those issues with those applications. And finally, being able to verify. So verify whether the vulnerabilities of those applications have been addressed. Now, our solutions are backed by the Secunia research team. This is a company we acquired about a year ago now. But the Secunia research team are daily looking for new vulnerabilities, and they're populating a vulnerability database. This database has over 20,000 applications with known vulnerabilities for those applications within it. And daily, the team is looking at 300 bits of information, and out of that information, they're creating around 20 to 30 security advisories today. Now, those advisories are related to products in your environments which could be vulnerable or are vulnerable. So the solution based off this is Corporate Software Inspector. Now, Corporate Software Inspector enables you to inventory your machines, either through SCCM or through a very lightweight agent. It's about 800K in size, to give you a view of which applications in your environment may be vulnerable. The way we do this is we actually look at everything installed, and we can compare this against the vulnerability database. If a vulnerability is identified, you can see this through a dashboard in the solution. It then enables you to prioritize what you want to do with those vulnerabilities. In terms of prioritization, some vulnerabilities are more important than others. It's a very short presentation today, and I'd love to talk to you more about this in great detail, but just an example of why you'd want to prioritize risk. Well, if a vulnerability is something that could be exploited from remotely outside of the organization, and it gives system access, for example, well, this would be highly critical. You want to get that resolved as soon as possible. If it's something where you need to actually be on the local machine and maybe have admin access to actually exploit that vulnerability, well, that's low criticality. Yeah, and that's something that can be done at a later stage. So we enable prioritization. The second phase of this is mitigation or remediation. So out of the box, or out of our database, we have over 300 out-of-the-box patches and automation around the creation of those patches ready for deployment to update those vulnerable applications in the end environment. If it's a commercial-based application, we can't rehost it, but we give you the link to where that information would be. And finally, the last stage is around verification. So ensuring that what we've identified and what we've found to be vulnerable is then remediated. It's really the assessment process again, just rescanning and getting this information in. So I started this session talking about maturing your application readiness process, being change ready, using automation. And this brought together two solutions, Workflow Manager and Admin Studio. Then how do end users consume those applications through a self-service app store? And finally, after those applications are delivered to the end device, how do you ensure that those applications stay secure? Now, these applications all integrate together, so there's lots of cross-integration with these different applications. If I'm an end user, and I want to request a new application into my environment, I can do this through App Portal. So App Portal is for applications which are available in all of those back-end systems, but we can also request something new through App Portal as well, which in turn updates the ITSM process, the service desk process, and then would launch a workflow in Workflow Manager. So this Application Readiness workflow tracking tool. At this stage, we can reach out to our vulnerability database and see whether that application is vulnerable even before we start any packaging work on it. So we can do this up front, identify where any vulnerabilities could be. If the application is good, Workflow Manager integrates with Admin Studio. This is the automation that I showed you earlier. We can drive Admin Studio. We bring the application into the Admin Studio catalog. We recognize the application with our software license optimization solution. That becomes more important on licensing, but we don't need to be so concerned with that today. But from Admin Studio, what we then do is we publish that application through to these leading deployment formats. And at the same time, we bring the application into App Portal as well, or the link to that application in App Portal. So what we've done there, we've closed the loop. We've enabled the end user to request a new app, which has driven Workflow Manager and checking whether the application is vulnerable before we start any packaging effort. Workflow Manager drives the automation in Admin Studio to package the app and prepare that for delivery or provisioning. From Admin Studio, we publish it to the provisioning or deployment solution. And also, we create the entry in App Portal, so it's ready to be consumed by the end users. And finally, when the application is deployed to the end device, it's really about ensuring that the application stays secure in the end environment. Now, there's quite a lot to take in today. I've shown you sort of several different solution areas. I really want the focus to be on maturing your packaging process, but then what next? You know, how does that fit in with the entire application lifecycle? So I'd love the opportunity, if any of you would like to have some more information about this, if you want to come to our stand, I can show you a lot more in detail in depth about any of these solutions that I've introduced you to today as well. So the session code for this is 34, but on the same side, I would like to take the opportunity now to ask if you have any questions at all about what we've seen in the presentation today. The percentage success rate. So the question was, yeah. So the question was, what was the percentage success rate of migrating AppVs from version 4.6 through to version 5? The reality of it is there's a lot of reasons why you can't upgrade AppV 4.6 to 4.5s. Some of the simple ones are if it doesn't have a shortcut, if it has no OSD file for any reason, if you've created some scripts. I forget the name of them now. It's been a while since I've looked at AppV 4.6. But the scripts, OSD scripting, for example, these things can't be converted. It really depends on the inputs in. We get probably a similar automation rate to what you would do using the AppV PowerShell commands as well. Probably similar. The difference here is, again, it's one single process and it's automated from a catalog. So, and we give you a little bit of extra reporting around that as well. Sure.
Actually, the PowerShell does actually now convert scripts.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Any other questions at all?
About the security bit.
Sure.
You said there were 20,000 applications in there?
Yeah, 20,000.
What if your application is not in there?
Yeah, so from the solution, it enables you to request to add a new application, and we turn that around within 72 hours. So if your application isn't there, then we will add it. Of course, it's only for publicly available applications, so commercial applications. If it's in-house developed, it's something we wouldn't add to our database. Sure. Any other questions at all? Okay, well, thank you all very much for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.